And Donovan returned to New Jersey?
Yes.
And did you continue to be close with him?
Yes.
And did you continue the same types of talks that you were talking about earlier in terms of philosophy and memorizing things?
Yes.
And at some point in time, did you have a dinner with him that you heard Donovan describe here, a dinner in a Chinese restaurant?
Yes.
And was there some conversation at that dinner about being close and having no secrets?
Yes.
And did Donovan tell you something in that conversation?
Yes.
What did Donovan tell you?
Objection, hearsay. Not being offered for the truth of what was said.
No, it's not being offered in the truth of the matter.
Objection, irrelevant.
And it goes to state of mind. And it goes to a prior consistent statement.
Right, as to what Mr. Goudreau said, it's not being received for the truth of what was said, just to be part of a conversation that occurred and the state of mind of the witness.
What did Mr. Goudreau tell you?
He told me it was a very... I could tell that something was coming, and he, after some amount of him crying and having a hard time getting out, he told me that he had been molested by his uncle, or I believe it was his uncle, another adult, and he told me a little about that and was crying, and of course this...
How did you feel?
I felt very bad for him.
Why?
Because I knew how it felt.
And did you say something to him?
I told him
Did you want to help him?
I couldn't help him. I just wanted to comfort him and let him know that yeah, he felt that made him lesser and weak, and I wanted to let him know that the same thing had happened. I told him, basically, I don't remember exactly what I told him, but I had let him know that the same thing happened to myself and my brother, and that it was okay.
How did you react when you saw him crying and upset?
I started to, I don't know if I started crying or almost, but I felt like I couldn't talk. And I had to go to the bathroom. Came back, and I think he felt better.
Why did you feel the need to comfort him?
Because he was in tremendous pain. I got the impression he hadn't told anybody this before in his life. I was amazed that he had told me.
What was the importance of telling him that it had happened to you? Why did you think that was going to help him?
Because I didn't want him to think that it made him... He was saying it in a way like he couldn't be like me or something like that, and I wanted him to know that it was okay, and that didn't have any, you know, and the same thing had happened to me, and that and to my brother, and that didn't make him anything strange.
Did you feel that about yourself, that what had happened to you didn't make you anything strange?
Well, I really hadn't thought about it in a long time. And it was somewhat of a good... I felt in some comfort myself that something had happened to him, although not really the same thing, but...
Why? Why was that comforting that it had happened to him?
I don't know.
Why hadn't you told people, had you told people before this that you remember except your mother? Why hadn't you told anybody before?
Partly fear of my dad, for sure. would be one reason I never would. But also, I was already feeling like an overly, I had stuffed animals, I had these problems with the girlfriends, and I felt so much lesser than my dad. And lots of shameful feelings, embarrassment with, even back when the bedwetting was happening, I constantly, it was just one thing after another. And I wanted to put this out of my mind. And my dad never brought it up. So I didn't ever tell anybody.
Was it a painful memory? Or a memory that didn't matter?
It was obviously very painful, but I really didn't allow myself to think about it until, this my best friend mentioned, talked about this, and he was crying, and I could barely talk, but I felt I couldn't not tell him. I just told him.